do not Google how to do this or pay somebody money to do this for you. There are a lot of websites that offer services to help you with your Vietnam e-visa. They are unnecessary. I'm going to show you how to do it. Very easy, and I'm going to link the website in the description so you can follow along step by step if you like. So check out that link. Let's get started. So just a reminder, a few things you're going to want to have before you start this process is one, you're going to want a digital copy of a passport style photo along with your passport. You're going to want those digital, right, so you can upload them to this site. Another thing you're going to want to have is you're going to want to know what port of entry you're coming in. If you're coming in on a plane or a boat, you'll want to know which one you're going to come in. They're going to ask that. It is easiest if you go ahead and book your flight in advance so that you just know. And you also need to know where you're going to stay. So book that initial hotel, and because they are going to ask you where you intend to stay, and you may actually have to show proof that you're going there. So that is possible. So have those things available, and emergency contact info. So if you don't know your best friend's address or something like that, you want to get it before you start. Other than that, that gets you started on the process. So this is it. This is the splash page, what I would call it, your entry into the application process. So we're just going to click apply now. Okay, now you have a list of declaration instructions here, and this is basically just me making sure that you're following all the legal parameters set in place, right? So you've got a list of border gates and air border gates here and sea border gates. So these are 3 places you can come in through your e-visa, the 3 types of places, but really it's any international location that you can fly into or out of, or through a boat or whatever. So those are all covered here. And then it's just basically, make sure that you're complying with the laws and that you've read everything carefully, and then we hit next. Okay, now here is where you're going to have a couple of digital copies of you'll need a passport photo, which you can do yourself. You can look up how to do that. I won't go into it here, but I've made my own. Otherwise, you can go to, in the States, you've got Walgreens, but any of these types of places that'll do passport photos for you for generally really cheap, and you can just have it done for you. So, but you'll also have to upload your passport. So 2 digital files here that you might want to get prepped before you sit down to start the process, right? So I have both of these, and so I'm going to upload them now. And when you upload both of these, I'm not showing it right now, but when you upload both of these, you will get a match percentage. Mine was 82%, so that's how much does your photo match the passport. But there will be a green check mark if you're good. There will be a red X if you have to take a different photo, right? So I haven't had any issues with this yet, so hopefully you won't either. But if you've drastically changed your appearance somehow, maybe it won't pick it up. Or if you're not completely straight on when you take your photo, there might be something wrong like that, so just check that. Okay, now we enter the phase where you enter in your personal information. One of these you'll see is the identity card. You do not need to do that. Vietnam doesn't recognize the passport cards, only the passport itself. So you can leave that blank. As you can see, there is no red asterisk next to it stating that it's mandatory. One thing I would say too is do not use autofill on this form anywhere. Your autofill could be connected to a different version of your name, could be connected to a different address that you're not wanting to use here, or anything else. So when you auto-populate, especially when you get further down the form, it may change something that you've already entered in. So please do not use autofill here. I've gotten burned on that once. Had to redo it again. So, and if you've already booked your plane ticket and you're cutting it kind of close to within a week or so, then if you get denied, you don't have enough time to get that reissued. You'll have to move your plane flight. So make sure you don't do that. Okay, so I've got all that filled out. Now, one thing on place of birth, one thing you want to make sure that all your information here needs to be as it appears on your passport. So on my passport, my place of birth is Florida, USA, right? And the USA has periods in between it. I do it just exactly like it asks me to do, so I don't take any liberties. I just copy verbatim. I don't want there to be any problems. But this isn't just you just telling it place of birth. You go in and see what it says on your passport, make sure it matches here, because that's what they're going to use. It does have you, it does require you to enter religion here. I have always put none, and that's been okay. So if you do not want to disclose your religion, or if you do not have a religion, none works just fine, no problems. Okay, now we get down here. I've just scrolled down a little bit, and you see, have you ever used any other passports to enter Vietnam? Nope, I've only used one passport. I've only got one nationality, and I haven't violated any laws. Now, if any of these are yes, you'll get a drop down having you enter that information here for their review. Okay, so here you have multiple options. So within 90 days, you can get a single entry visa, which allows you to come in and stay for up to 90 days and then leave. That is $25. Or you can do a multiple entry visa, which allows you to go back and forth within that 90 days. It's $50. I'm going to do single entry, like I always do, and my visa is going to be valid from this date to, now when you're going out ahead, so let's say that I am trying to maximize my 90 days and I accidentally go over and do, too many days. Well, you'll see right here, you'll get a pop-up that says the validity period of the e-visa date must not exceed 90 days from the e-visa issuance date. So it doesn't let me mess up. And so I can keep going backward, and so let's just pretend I'm going right here. There we go. But let's see, can I go to the 25th? No. Okay, so that's my day right there. Now you can calculate this yourself, but I'm just telling you there is a fail-safe to make sure you're not going over the 90 days. So on this visa, you stay within these dates, and you're not going to overstay your visa, which could cause you problems getting back in the country in the future, which you'll definitely want to do. Vietnam is a great place, and there's so much to see. All right, and then next we're going to enter in just our passport information. Again, this is exactly as you want it, as you have it on your, this is exactly how you have it on your passport, so you'll want to enter everything in exactly the way. I have an ordinary passport, and then my issuing place is United States Department of State. If you're the United States, then your issuing authority, place of issue is the United States Department of State, which again, you find on your passport. So this is again, a place where you have to enter everything in exactly as it appears on your passport. Okay, so after you've filled out your passport information, you scroll down, the next section is contact information. This is going to be a place in your country of origin that is a good place to reach you should you be in that place, right? So I just put in the address here, put in your phone number here, right? And then an emergency contact, which you have to have, right? So I use my sister and put her residential address, phone number, relationship. One thing I would say is if you have a permanent residential address in the United States, but that's not where you are, for example, if I am in Thailand, then I would want to put my Thai address where it says contact address here, okay? Okay, occupation down here, you do not have to fill out anything there, right? There are no stars. And so now information about the trip. So tourist is always going to be your easiest option if you're coming in on a student visa or business or working or something else. Then you can choose one of those, and you'll have different maybe drop-down menus to explain a little bit more. Tourist, there's really not much of that, and there's really no need for anything else. So 90 days tourist e-visa is what I'm going to stick with. So my intended date of entry is already included. It's already auto-populated, along with how many days that I intend to stay based on the information we've already entered in. I do have a Vietnamese phone number. There is no asterisk here, but I put it down there anyway. Okay, so, and then here we go. So residential address in Vietnam, they do require you to fill this out. So what does that mean? Well, not only do you have to have your flight booked before you fill this out, but you also have to have maybe your hotel stay. So what they may ask for when you come in is where are you going to stay, right? And you have to show them that you have you're in a hotel to start off with, or if you have signed some sort of agreement or lease, they want to know where you're going to be, right? So anytime you update that, technically you need to let them know. However, they're not just kind of running around asking everybody, well, where do you live now, right? So just you know, if you go there and you just kind of fit in and blend in, you don't have to worry about this once you get there. But to get in, you do need to show where you're going to stay initially. So you put in your residential street address, and then it says province or city. So this will just kind of be the state. So things kind of work, you know, it's like a state or county, right? More like a state. So that's what you would put in here. Your district is generally the city, right? So you'll find that out. And then you have your ward, so you have to, that's the area of the city. So Dalat City, I think, has 10 or 12 wards, right? So it's just an area of the city that you live in. Okay, so here's where it gets a little kind of, you know, more to do for a guy like me. So agency, organization, or individual that the applicant plans to contact when they enter into Vietnam, you could put something here, right? But you don't really have to, right? Unless it's for an agency or organization, I would say. But if you're going and you're going to meet a friend there, you don't necessarily have to put that in here. It's not something that they're really after, right? Have you been to Vietnam in the last 1 year? Most of you know, but for me, yes. Right, so I have to put in every time that I have been in the last 1 year. So I'm going to do that now. I'll be back. Okay, so I definitely had to take some time to go back and find when I entered and left the country because I went and I can find all my emails and go and see when my dates of entry and exit were granted, but that is a 90-day window, so you don't have to, you know, leave on the day that you say you're going to leave. So I would always recommend putting it the 90 days out unless you know exactly when you're leaving, because the first time I came, I wish I could have changed that and stayed a little longer. I was not expecting to like it as much as I did. But so now here on the form, you will see that I have entered in all of my dates, and this time I've actually saved these dates, so I will have them for quick reference because I did not bring my passport on me. And to be honest, now I'm flipping through, you know, over a dozen pages trying to find all of the right dates. Here we are on intended expenses in the U.S. dollars. I mean, I would put, you know, I'm going to be there for. And it's in USD, US dollars. So, you know, I'm going to stay for 3 months. You can easily live super comfortably on $1,500 a month in Vietnam. So I just multiplied that by 3 and added a little cushion. And then, did you buy insurance? Yes. Okay. And going with the Geo Blue Voyager. I recommend this at least a few times. It is like a travel insurance, so it's not full insurance, but it will get you out of the country if you need to go back for regular, to use your United States insurance. So if you do have United States insurance, this is a really good option. It's only $75 a month. And then I'm just going to put personal. I will be covering my own expenses with cash. Credit cards you can use on very few things in Vietnam as far as merchants and retailers. Now you can still order rides and things like that and get your food delivery. You can still do that and set it up with a credit card. But if you're walking into a business with a credit card, good luck. Not very many places, especially outside of Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi and maybe a couple of other places. Most places, even in Dalat where I stayed, 500,000 people, very few places take credit cards. So don't expect that you're going to get by this trip putting everything on the card, okay? Alright, so next. Okay. So next you're going to come to this page here, which is just basically has all of your information so you can double check it, which I am going to do right now. And one of the main things I'm going to really be checking is on these dates, just to make sure I didn't transpose any particular date of birth, making sure I put my month in the right place and my day in the right place. Things like your intended border gate of entry. Make sure you get the entry right. Right, the exit you don't have to worry about as much. They will let you out of the country if you go to the wrong gate or a different place. Okay. Then it has a CAPTCHA down at the bottom. Next, declaration complete. Okay. Now I can confirm. So this is going to be my code that I can use to check later. You don't have to copy that. Confirm. Here now it takes you straight to a payment page where you're going to pay $25 US. I've already read through all of this, so I am going to agree to pay it. And then here it will have your order value, how much you're going to be paying in Vietnamese dong. I'm choosing to pay through Amex, but this is just a basic. You can fill out your form here and then click continue. Okay, so you see here I had an issue, right? Payment failed. So check your information, or to try again, click here. Right, so I'm clicking here. I was sent an email with my visa application number, so I'm going to pop that in here with my email and date of birth, and then see where it takes me. This is why we do a walkthrough. So we had an issue on the payment screen. Funny thing is that this is a new website, but this is not a new problem. I had this issue one other time where it said it did not accept my payment. If this happens to you, don't do it again. Give it an hour or two. This one took about 30 minutes. I'm sorry, it took about 15 minutes before it was approved. I ended up trying multiple times, and so I did get charged more than once. So I'm gonna give that a day or two to see if that drops off, but I may need to call somebody and get that second payment off. So if it's too big of a deal, I'm just gonna leave it alone because it's an extra 25 bucks. And I don't want to spend 3 or 4 hours trying to communicate what my issues are. So that doesn't happen all the time, but it has happened on more than one occasion, and it'll tell you the payment failed, and then you'll get an email telling you that it was accepted. Okay, so so don't spend a lot of time fretting over it. This is one of the reasons you don't want to cut it super close. You know, if it's think it's going to take 3 to 5 days, don't do it with 3 to 5 days. Do it with, 5 to 8 days. So if something happens and there's a delay, you can fix that. So it's always something, right? But that's why we go through it. So I hope that helped you.